Hey, you fucks. Thanks for, checking out the videos, showing a little bit of support. How about you take it to the next level and show us some love over there on Patreon, huh? Huh? Huh?
I am the fucking toughest ninja that you've ever seen. I killed a king and changed the course of European history. Oh man. Anyway, hey guys, what's up? It's Papa Tico, and look, God, what is this? 24 frames per second video? This is me hanging out at Libido Tattoo, and check out all this stuff. This guy, the tattoo artist, his dad was a musician, and to kind of like be rebellious but still be like, kind of like following his dad's path, the guy just had a bunch of weird ass instruments in his place. And anyway, yeah, what's up everybody? This is the rant for mid-March. Yeah, I've not yet gone out to go and like walk and just do like an hour-long rant outside, so I'm going to be talking over footage from my Iwate tattoo trip. Eventually I'll be showing this in a vlog, but I thought, hey, why not just talk over the raw footage? And yeah, this guy was a character, man. I wish God damn it, his name is gonna come to me at some point. I think his name is Kaza or something. And yeah, this guy was badass, man. You guys maybe can or can't tell, but him and I are pretty drunk in this part. This is right after he put the bag away full of all the beer cans that we were drinking. This guy was badass, man. Like if you guys watched my live stream when I was there, you'll know the story behind all this. But yeah, check out this that's what is it, like those are all the designs that he made. Those are all of his tattoo inks and stuff. And yeah, we just yeah. Look at him right now. We just went from like one thing to another thing. And yeah, we're pretty drunk at this point. Yeah, this guy was great. Like I needed to find a tattoo place and nobody could recommend it, so I had to Google this one. For my tattoo project, I want to be able to find these places by word of mouth, but I didn't know anybody who knew anyone in Iwate, so I was able to Google like 3 places. I ended up messaging the first 2, and all of them were like, it's Corona, yeah. And this guy was like, yeah, I'm actually kind of busy, but yeah, if you want to come over and hang out tonight, like, let's just go do it. And I'm like, okay, well, yeah, fuck it, I got nothing else going on. And I show up to this guy's place. I take a taxi there, and he just I really wish I had filmed it. He just comes down the street with his bicycle in a bag from the convenience store. It's just loaded with beers, and not the cheap shitty kind, like the actually good like Sapporo like beers and not malt liquor. And we just ended up fucking drinking in his place for most of the night, and then the next day he gave me a tattoo. Yeah, and his dad apparently is one of the most famous shakuhachi players, those flute players, in Iwate Prefecture. And yeah, this is actually really hard to play. You gotta like aim your lips a certain way and stuff, and blow over the thing, but not direct, but still somewhat into there. And yeah, this is very hard. I didn't even get that's the closest anything like that's ever gonna be in my lips. That's shaped like that. Yeah, hopefully, right? Knock on wood. Oh God. But yeah, anyway, it's getting to the 4-minute mark. I just want to say, guys, for everybody who watches these videos, by the way, big thank you to everyone who comes over and checks this stuff out. If you want to help support the channel, because usually in these videos I have either copyright music or it's just they get shitty views. So if you guys want to help support the channel, this is 100% fan funded, so you can become a member by pushing that join button, and you'll get access to the cool parts of my Discord, which are just like only for YouTube members. Or or you can join my Patreon at patreon.com/TKOSam. Both of these links are down below in the description, and you guys can sign up for extra bonus content as well as learning Japanese and tours and whatnot. All of that stuff is there. And yeah, like always, thank you guys for smashing the like button, and make sure the subscribe bell is hit so you guys get notified each time a video comes out. And yeah, anyway, hello to everybody in the chat too. If you're here in the premiere chat right now, say hi. We usually do a live stream after each one of these videos gets premiered. So yeah, thank you guys so much for everyone who shows up to these. You guys kick ass. And yeah, and I guess comment of the day is I don't know, have you guys ever actually like did you ever play any instruments, or do you know anyone who played other instruments? And if you never learned how to play an instrument, what if you could learn like an instrument like right now in a split second? Which one would you choose? I think I would choose probably the saxophone, just because saxophone is that smooth black jazz, you know. But yeah, let me know what instrument you guys would like to learn immediately. And yeah. Anyway, back to the talk. Yeah, I don't know. I think today's rant is just going to be a blend of just random stuff that I've been thinking about recently, plus reacting to these videos. So, yeah, feel free to, you know, go get your cup of coffee, start doing your chores or whatever, because we're just sitting down and we're enjoying, you know, a nice long sexual talk with Papa Tikyo. God, when I filmed this video, this must have been in like August, I think, maybe July or August. Yeah, my buddy, the story behind all of this, in case you guys didn't see the live streams, whenever I go on these trips, I try to do at least a live stream once or twice during that time to kind of keep you guys up to speed on like what's going on there. And yeah, this was my buddy. He's like a IT guy, and he gets dispatched to all these places in Japan, and so he can either choose to fly, or he can choose to take the bullet train, or he can drive. And so when he chooses to drive, usually I'll catch a ride with him, and I'll come up with him, and I can, you know, I pay for my own hotel and everything. And yeah, and like my buddy, he gets somebody to, you know, it's just an excuse for us to hang out with each other for like a week or whatever, right? And so while he was working, I went to Iwate, and yeah, it was fun because like we're just, you know, we're stuck in a car, and we're just chilling, we're just hanging out, and you know, he's working and I'm doing my thing, and in a way we're both kind of working, right? You know, so that was cool. But yeah, I don't know, I just wanted to talk about a bunch of random things that happened recently and all this stuff. And you know, it's funny because, you know, one of my goals in spring is to, well, I mean, not just spring, but this year, I want to start waking up at 7 a.m., you know? Like, when you have kind of a freelance work style, you know, it's not that big a deal, right? Like, if you're not doing that kind of work style. Like, I remember when I had a normal, like, 9 to 5 or 8 to 4 job, I would wake up at 6 a.m. anyway every day. But then you're spending an hour or two commuting, and then you're 8 hours in some place for the whole day. And look, props to you guys. Any of you guys, like, show of hands in the premiere chat, or show of hands in the comments section if any of you guys are one of those dudes who works the 9 to 5, like, you know, 40-hour-a-week thing for another company, dude. You guys have my respect, man, because I did that for over 10 years, and I don't want to go back to that. I'm just tired. I don't want to do it, because if I did do it, then I don't know, man. It's just like, it's funny because I've talked about this before, how it's like I make less money now than I did before when I was working full time, but I have so much more free time than I did before, so I'm okay with that, you know? You know, when I look back and I think about my 20s, how it's just like I gave like 6 days of my week, like, to somebody else for their dream, you know? And I'm like, there's that old saying, right? Like, you either work for the CEO or you are the CEO, right? And it's just funny because, like, I was at one of my part-time jobs this last week, and you know, one of my students is what is it, like, I have a group, like a kind of a business group of like about maybe 4 or 5 college students, and it's supposed to be like higher level English class, right? and the topic was talking about inflation in Japan and everything. And these college kids, they were like, yeah, man, like, it's super expensive now in Japan. Like, it sucks. Like, and these are all college students that studied abroad in America and are now back in Japan. And I was just like, guys, like, what is so, like, what's so bad? And they're like, oh, rent is so expensive and everything. And, living and food prices are so expensive. And I don't know, compared to the prices I've seen in America, it doesn't seem that bad. But then again, I don't really know the cost of living in America. But, the funny thing is just like these college kids, like they, I understand since they're college kids, it must be hard or whatever, right? But for me, I don't feel like that much stuff has changed. Like for me, the number one scary thing is like, eventually, if Japan starts doing the thing that America does, where they're going to raise your rent, possibly like once or twice a year or whatever, right? Where they're like, yeah, the economy is shit, and I need to, like, they started charging me more for my mortgage to pay off this place, so I'm going to have to raise your rent. Like, that's the thing I'm scared of. It's not really food prices going up or gas prices going up. It's that, because I still, I don't know, man. Like, I think, like, a lot of people have different standards for stuff, too, right? And it's, like, for me, like, I don't need much to live, Like, I've always been poor, and, like, I saw this great meme where it was, like, Derek and, what the fuck is his name? Mike or Chad? What is it? Well, anyway, the point is, the meme is from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and it's like, why are all these young people freaking out about like the inflation? It's like, oh, because they're new poor. We're old poor. We grew up poor, so like this is like not a big deal. It's not a big change for us, but for those people, it is, because they got to change their lifestyle. And yeah, I mean, so I guess that's why maybe inflation hasn't hit me that hard, is because, like, I've always been living frugally, I've always been like, okay, maybe I should, I need to, like, I don't think things are always going to go well financially in the world, so, like, I'm always just kind of making sure I have money in the bank, money in investments, all that stuff, and I have multiple jobs in case, like, you could be the best worker in the world, but, like, what if your company goes under, Like, they have no reason to fire you, but what if your company goes under, or, like, your boss dies and, like, his son doesn't want to take over the company, so he just sells it or something? Like, it might not be a high possibility, but it's still there, right? So it's like, you always got to have, multiple sources of income coming in. And so I'm talking to the college kids, and they're like, yeah, well, and I realized that, these guys, like, they do part-time jobs, and maybe they're living off of like a, like an allowance or stipend from their parents, or, living off their school loans or something. I don't know. But I know for a fact that, like, these, some of them, they live in places where the rent is expensive, like Aoyama or Daikanyama or something, like really kind of expensive neighborhoods of Japan, or like of Tokyo. And, I'm thinking, I'm like, if you guys just were willing to live in kind of a shittier place, or like shitty, I don't mean shitty as like, the walls are falling apart. I mean like that it's a really older building, or like that, they don't have a separate bathroom and toilet or something. I don't know. It's just, I noticed that a lot of people complain, like when it's like the new poor are complaining about stuff, it's because they want to keep the high standards that they had before. And so, like they feel like they're sacrificing in order to do something else, blah, 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 right? And it's funny because the guy that I went on the trip with, for this tattoo trip, he was telling me how, like, he was complaining about inflation too, but he also lives in an expensive part of Tokyo, and he likes to buy imported goods. Like, he'll buy import clothes, he'll buy import technology, and so he's always kind of, and so when inflation hit, he's like, oh, and like he doesn't go to discount supermarkets like me, he doesn't go to, like he likes to go to expensive supermarkets like in Roppongi and stuff, and so, it's like for him, he's like, oh, like go to a wholesale place, like, like, And so, like, of course, for him, he's like, oh my God, these prices are outrageous. But for me, I'm like, I've always been the kind of guy that's like, oh, cabbage is expensive this week. Okay, I'll just buy lettuce or something else that's cheaper, that's similar, you know? But I'm guessing for dudes like him, it's like, no, it must be cabbage or it must be the lettuce or something. Like, it must be the expensive one or else I can't do it, you know? And, I don't know. It's just, I remember I heard this great quote, and I even have this quote still on a sticky note in front of me on my laptop that says, there's no nobility in poverty. So it's like, you know, you can act all righteous and stuff as much as you want, but at the end of the day, like, there's no pride in being poor, you know? Like, there's pride in surviving, but there's no pride in being poor and staying poor, you know? And, yeah, like I remember one of my friends that took Japanese citizenship here. He's about a year or two older than me. I asked him, I was like, why did you get citizenship or whatever? And he was like, dude, I plan on making a lot of money. And I was like, okay, and I'll follow. And he's like, well, once you hit a certain threshold of making money in Japan, you get double taxed in both countries. And I was like, no, that can't be, that's not correct. And he's like, no, like, he's like, up until $130,000, or it might have changed recently, but it used to be up to like 120 or 130,000. You can claim all of your income in one country, so you only get taxed from one country, and then you get exempt for the other country. But once you start getting more than that, you got to pay both. And I was like, oh, shit. And he's like, yeah, and if you own land or if you own big assets in America, Japan will tax you for those. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, that's your asset in America. That doesn't have anything to do in Japan. You know, and I was like, well, yeah, I guess if you're a permanent resident. He's like, no. Like, after 5 years being in Japan, the government considers you tax-wise a permanent resident. So if you're a rich kid who inherited your parents' house or something, then Japan wants a piece of that. And I'm like, oh, shit. And he's like, yeah, and I'm going to inherit my parents' house. And he's like, so I'm going to get Japanese citizenship, so I only get taxed in one country. And I'm like, oh, fuck, dude. And, like, I was like, I never thought that far ahead, you know? And, like, this guy was already thinking about, like, making a couple $100,000 a year. And I'm like, wow, you know, you got to, like, I'm like, wow, that's thinking ahead kind of thing, right? But, I mean, I guess the whole point I'm getting at is that, like, that guy had, like, a bigger dream, a bigger idea for himself. And I'm like, shit, like, I'm not inheriting anything. I don't make any, like, nearly anywhere near that money. But it's like, if you want to, yeah, you know, what are you gonna, you know, I don't know. It's just something to think about, right? Food for thought. Because it's like, if he can do it, why can't any of us do it kind of thing, right? Oh, yeah, and this is my hotel, by the way, in Iwate. This is Morioka. Which I always think of the Mori town, Moriocho in JoJo Season 4 when I hear any town that sounds like Mori. And look, this is the hotel, and I'm like, guys, look, it's the hotel, and I'm fat, yay. Yeah, look at that bathroom. That was nice. I made, like, whenever there's on a side note, guys, whenever there's a hotel like this, I love just making myself hot gay baths. And, like, you know, I don't know what you guys put in your bath, but when it's in a hotel, I just put all the soaps in there. Fucking shampoo, body soap, everything. Everything just goes in there, and we just mix it up. But, yeah, anyway. Yeah, fun times. God, everywhere in Japan, they always had these cookie-cutter fucking bathrooms. Yeah, and what else? I don't know. That bed was actually so fucking comfortable. Ugh, I want that kind of bed. I like that bed. I want more of that bed. But, yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking about how, you know, like, I got a comment, literally yesterday on my tattoo video, and, I don't know. Let's read it out here, because it's so funny how you can get like 100 positive messages, but it's the one negative one that you hear where you're kind of like, what? Like, what the fuck are you talking about, motherfucker? And, anyway, let's see. Where is it? Where's the comment? Let me read it out loud to you guys. God damn it. Where is it? No, where is it? That son of a bitch. I gotta find it first. But basically it was from this guy who has like a YouTube account since like 2008, right? And I don't know why it's not showing up on YouTube, because like I approved the message, so it should be able to be seen by you guys, but I'm not seeing it on my profile. But anyway, this guy said, "Aren't you?" So this was like a comment for my tattoo video, right? And I don't think it's like healthy, or I don't think it's good to normally respond to trolls, because then you're just like literally, what is that old quote? Don't feed the trolls, right? But I wanted to share this one with you guys so you can have your own. I can see your guys' responses to this, okay? Because I'm not against criticism, right? I'm not against people like saying stuff, right? But it's just like when it's a blatant attack, then I'm like, oh, fuck you, right? But yeah, like I don't understand, because I approved this comment, I replied to this comment, but it's not showing up. So this guy must have been blocked a while ago or something, and then YouTube switched their system or something. I don't know. But anyway, he says, in response to my tattoo project video, aren't you kind of young for a midlife crisis? During your writing rants, while you make so many road mistakes, it's a miracle you passed the license exam. You tend to point out other foreigners as if there's some kind of new shock to you. Dumping on other foreign dudes in Japan. Guess what? You're just another white guy that moved there because you like video games or anime or whatever. That ink isn't going to make you any more Japanese, despite how much you want to gatekeep the "I've been in Japan for X years" experience among other foreign Zoomers and millennials. You can ride the gimmicky foreigner shtick for only so long. And of course I replied with the most mature and serious response of, you mad, bro? Like, you know, so Matt, you obviously mad, bro. Tell me how you really feel, you know? But to me, it's funny because, like, I see this comment, right? And I'm like, I see a guy who, from what I can tell, when I see this, I see a person who has watched a lot of my videos. And so it's either somebody who's watching a lot of these videos and they're disappointed at the progress I've made on YouTube, or there's somebody who's just jealous, who like kind of hate watches for fun. Either way, I don't mind. You know, I don't mind whichever one of these guys watches this. But I don't know, a couple things that I think, because like whenever you get a troll comment, right, you got to think, is this guy actually being sincere and serious, or is he just trolling for the sake of seeing a reaction from you? You know? So it's like, you can't, like, my whole thing is that, like, if you don't show your face, if you're not willing to put your face behind your comment most of the time, right? If you're not willing to put your face to show me how much more of a badass you are, then I usually just, you know, wipe off that comment. Like, I don't care, right? Because it's just like, I notice most of the time that people that criticize other people, they've got nothing to show for it. So instead of fixing themselves, they project and tell other people how you know, how they should fix themselves, right? And but there were a couple things in this comment that I wanted to like kind of break down. And so he said that, like, I'm surprised you passed your driver's license exam by the way you drive in Japan. Now, I don't know if this guy's ever actually driven in Japan or lived in Japan, but there's a lot of bad drivers here in Asia, which is so funny because a lot of these dudes, they work so hard to pass their test, right? But, you know, I think that's the reason why a lot of people drive so crazily in Tokyo, at least, is because they're just like, yeah, fuck it, I went through all this work and now I don't need to fucking hold myself up to that high standard, so I'm just gonna do my own thing, you know? But I mean, you guys have seen me ride the way that I ride around cops and stuff all the time, and they don't seem to care. So I think if the cops don't care, you shouldn't give a shit either, buddy. And also he says, dumping on other foreign dudes in Japan while you're just another white guy. The only people I ever dump on in Japan are people that don't like to talk to Japanese people and never learn Japanese. And so it's like, you could be an English teacher, but you gotta own it, man. Like, you can't just be a guy who only did English teaching because you didn't feel like you could do anything else or you didn't try anything else. Like, you know, like the only people that I want to dump on are the people that come here and they try to assert Western ideology into Japan. Like, you know, like the fucking weirdos that are like, because I'm trans, I want to be able to go to the women's onsen. Like, those are the kind of people that I'm like, nah, get the fuck out of the country, right? Like, these are the same kind of people that it's like, oh, you've been in Japan for 4 years and you still haven't learned Japanese? Oh, yeah, okay, I'm going to give you tons of shit. Or it's like, oh, you speak Japanese, but you don't have any Japanese friends and you don't try to hang out with Japanese people? Okay, yeah, then I'm going to give you shit. So it's like, I'm guessing if this guy does live in Japan, he's one of those guys. He either didn't learn Japanese or he doesn't have any Japanese friends. Like, he either is a guy who just hangs out with foreigners, or he married a Japanese person and he just hangs out with foreigners, you know? But he said this ink isn't going to make you any more Japanese. And I don't know why I gave him the impression that that this is going to make me more Japanese, because I don't think I implied that at all, or even said that directly that it is. I was just like, hey, you know, when you get a tattoo, you're getting something more permanent to show that you visited that place, you know? And it's versus just like superficial video or pictures. You're going to get something that sticks with you forever. And you know, it's just like, I was sick and tired of these people that are like, I go to a place for one day and then they're like, I've been to every prefecture. And I'm like, how long did you spend in every prefecture? I don't know, like a day or two. Okay, so you didn't really get a chance to hang out with people or see how people live. Oh no, a day or two was enough. And I'm like, okay, well, good for you, you know, good for you to think like that. But I don't know, man. If this guy is in Japan, he seems like one of those bitter ass foreigners here that doesn't want new people to come to Japan, you know? Because, like, you got to remember, again, gatekeeping means that you don't want people to experience the same stuff you do, right? So it's like, gatekeeping Japan would be, I don't want you in Japan. I want Japan all for myself. But I'm the opposite. I'm like, dude, there's plenty of Japan to go around, but I just want you to learn Japanese, you know? Like, I want you to be able to have the best Japanese experience you can. And, like, I got a comment on that same video being like, oh, dude, you have a lot of tattoos. What is it like going to an onsen or something where you are? Like being in Japan with all these tattoos. And I've been to a handful of onsens. I mean, I've been probably to less than 15 or so. And I've been to a lot of bathhouses, though. But I've only been turned down by one onsen the whole time that I was here. But I was still able to get in. You know, they just let me in. Like, you know, I made such a big fuss about it that they let me in. But I think, you know, like the difference is that I spoke Japanese though, and I'm a charming son of a bitch. So if you can be a charming, I think this is where a lot of people that hate me get their hate from, and it's not because they're jealous of my hot, sexy body. My body's not that sexy, but it's like, they don't like the fact that I'm a fat guy and I should be sad and depressed and like kind of like bitter and antisocial like them. And they don't, you know, they want the, you know, they're like, why is it Sam's fat and he can make jokes about like, his dick or his ass when he sits down and his back hurts and nobody cares? Why is it Sam can learn Japanese so well but I can't? Why is it Sam can make friends with all these different people but I can't? And so it's like, yeah, fuck him, you know? And that's why it's like, whenever like I have a video that does semi-decently or something, the viewer, like those haters, they'll go and they'll attack the people that were in videos. Like when I was with Milky Puff or whatever, some of these haters went and harassed her because I wasn't reacting, you know? And they're like, well, fuck him. Why does he get to take a bath of a hot chick? Like, fuck that, you know? I'm going to harass her and think that Sam's such a piece of shit that she won't hang out with him, so he's going to be bitter and sad like me. And I don't know, man. It's just like it's such sad little like man bitch behavior, you know, because it's like at the end of the day, like this is one of the reasons why I love the Barbie movie, because it's like, you know, I have a viewer of mine. Yeah, Demi, spy me out if you're watching this. I have a viewer of mine from Europe, and he was like, Dad, I hate the Barbie movie. It's so SJW. And I'm like, did you even watch the Barbie movie? And he's like, no. And I'm like, well, don't fucking judge something until you watch it, right? And I love the Barbie movie because it kind of brought everything back to basics, you know? Boys being boys, girls being girls, you know? And calling out all those fucking grifter douchebags that are like, I'm super alpha, or like, you need to be super left-wing beta soy boy. It was calling out all that bullshit. And it's just like, dude, we're all in the same team, you know, together. And like when you try to do this infighting with each other, it's I don't know, man. It's like, don't you have bigger fish to fry kind of thing? Like, you know, don't you have bigger things to worry about? But it's just like, yeah, like, you know, this is why people want to, like, they wanted to complain about, like, Logan Paul when he went to the suicide forest versus, like, doing any, like, actually making any change, right? It's because people are just like, yeah, well, I'm not emotionally swayed by a guy who kidnapped a woman and then drugged her and stuff and raped her. Because that happened the same week the Logan Paul thing happened in Japan. And that's been going on, that kind of shit goes on in Japan more often than they want to admit. But no one gave a shit about making that an issue. Nah, let's make fun of the millionaire white boy who fucking took a video of a dead body, you know? It's like, I know that both are bad, but obviously one outweighs the other, right? And it's like, I remember I got angry when that happened because I'm like, look, that sure, I understand why you guys are angry and where you're coming from, but it's just, you want an excuse to bully people. I get it. Like, you want to be able to treat somebody bad who you think deserves it, and you can get away with it too. And best of all, you get to make money out of it, and you look like a good guy. And it's like, yeah, I get it. That's how the world works. People just want money. But it's like, don't you have bigger things to worry about, bigger things that you could contribute your time to, you know? And so, I don't know, man. It's just, like, what is it? I don't mind being hated, but I hate being misunderstood, if that makes sense. And I forgot who the fuck said that a while ago. Oh, God damn it. I wish I could remember who fucking said that. But it's like, I don't care that you hate me. I care, you know, but I do care if you misunderstand me, right? And so, I don't know, man. I feel like YouTube these days, man. I was talking to my favorite spraying S. Troopenstein man, Dov Troopen, the other day about this, how it's like, I miss how YouTube used to be more amateurish, you know? Like, I miss that with YouTube. YouTube used to be all like, you know, fucking just, it used to be like amateur. Like, we're watching YouTube for you. Not, like, you know, there's all this clickbaity shit or whatever, right? And look, I'm showing these guys my cock right now. No, it's not the cock. I'm showing them my tattoos. But yeah, these were customers coming in to get that guy with the fanny pack on his shoulder. He was getting the tattoo. That's funny. It looks like I'm just flashing cock right now, doesn't it? Hey, you know what? I'm not embarrassed. It's nothing to brag about, but I'm not, you know, I live in Japan. This is onsen society. I don't give a shit. And you guys can scope my Carl tattoo a bit. That's fucking awesome. But anyway, I don't know. It's just like, I mean, the whole point is, it's just like, there's other foreigners here, right, in Japan, and they want to gatekeep, or they want to act like they're better than other foreigners. And like, trust me, when there's like a loud foreigner, like, I'm not gonna say the name, but there's this woman on Twitter, right? And she's a white chick, probably from America. And she's rich, or her husband is rich, or like the company really takes care of them because she lives in Asakusa, and she lives in like a high-rise condo, and she's got like a very autistic child. I think she might have two, actually. And one day on Twitter, I don't know, I just came across that tweet, and she was complaining about how during Corona she wanted to bring her kids to America to see her see the grandparents or whatever, right? And you know, like, she was taking a severely autistic screaming child on a plane for 14 hours, and she was talking about something like the crew was really mean to her or something, and she blocked me because I gave her shit, because I'm like, how selfish are you that, you have this child that obviously can't sit still and has mental issues, and you're bringing them on a plane with all these other people that are already paying a high price to go and travel, and because it's Corona, and you're not only doing this really selfish thing where you're gonna make the ride horrible, because the kid, she said like something like the kid screamed like the whole time or whatever, right? So it's like, that's a long ass flight, and you just did that so your kid could see the grandparents, even though the grandparents were not dying, they're not at death's door, and they could come visit. They could come to Japan. And it was something like she could have just waited or whatever, but she was just like, me, 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 me. Fuck other people, me, me, me. And as soon as I pointed out like her selfish shit, she blocks me, right? And like, those are the kind of people that it's like, she didn't learn Japanese. She is a wife of some guy who makes a fuck ton of money, but she doesn't give a fuck about Japan. She doesn't learn about Japan. She doesn't learn Japanese, and she expects everything to be catered to her because she has a special needs kid. And I don't know, it's like, you'll encounter Westerners like this in Japan. And by the way, this is curry, and I love it. And let me just pause the thing for a second. This is curry at a soba place, okay? Iwate is famous for soba. It's like kind of buckwheat noodles, right? And whenever you go to a buckwheat noodle place, they always have Japanese curry available, because they make the curry out of the leftover like hot water that they use to boil the noodles. So it's got this extra special, very subtle flavor to it, and it kicks ass. So if you guys ever go to a noodle restaurant and you've had the noodles already, try the curry. It's not like any other curry place, because they're using special water to make the curry. So yeah, just keep that in mind. But anyway, it's just like, when people come to Japan, or they've been in Japan for a while, and they expect special treatment, yeah, that's not bueno, And I think I remember I got this I'm currently friends with a YouTuber who's friends with an ex, or I guess maybe she still does YouTube, I don't know. But anyway, point is, like, long time ago, there was a girl who made a video, and she was in Kansai, I think, and she made a video about how she was being unfairly treated. And it was like a 20-minute video where this woman was complaining that her grandfather died, or her father died or something, and she didn't have enough money to go home, or she had enough money to go home or something. But somebody died and she needed to go home, and her company said, look, like, you've already gone on vacation or whatever, you can't go home. And so, if you go home, we need you. We need somebody to take over your classes. Like, and so, if you leave, you're gonna be fired. It's not gonna be a vacation. She's complaining about how life isn't fair and stuff. And, it offends me, because, like, when I was her age, like, I realized that that's not, it's very unrealistic to expect your company to drop everything, especially if it's like an English teaching company. And you could tell, like, she had an apartment that was not expensive, but expensive for an English teacher that has a low salary, right? So she's like, basically, if I go home for the funeral, then even if somebody pays for, like, my flight, like, even if my family pays for my flight, I might not be able to pay my rent, and might not be able to pay, and I'll lose my job and whatever. And luckily, Japan is one of those places where it's not like America, where if you lose your job, you still maintain your visa. So, like, you can still keep your visa. But yeah, she's basically like, it's not fair. It's not fair. And one of my friends replied to her, and she freaked out, and she claimed victimhood. And then all these other people attacked my buddy online, so I got offended, and I made a response video to her. And then her and her two friends that I had actually met in person, that I didn't know they were friends of her, those two people, like, I had been really nice to them. I'd only met them once in real life, but, like, I had never been mean or anything, right? And I get it. If your friend, if you feel like your friend is attacked online, you want to defend them or whatever. But again, it's one of those things where people are lazy and they don't fucking watch the video or whatever, right? And so her friends were just assholes. Like, they were just like, yeah, fuck him, you fat fuck, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you know that people have a bad argument when they just start calling you names, right? Because it's like, if you had an actual decent argument, you could say some shit, right? But, you know, it's just like, yeah, I don't know. And here's me on the train going from somewhere in Iwate to another place in Iwate to go meet my buddy Juan for, we were going to stay in a camp for the last night and be all gay together. It was going to be nice. But anyway, the whole point is that chick, I made a response video because I'm like, I was hoping that if anybody who watches my videos sees that response video, they can learn from that to not be so stupid and naive, right? But this woman went on like a campaign to like fucking attack me and hate me or whatever, and it's just like, you know, I've learned through my years that it's just like, even though people are stupid, don't engage with crazy, because like at the end of the day, they're gonna just self-implode anyway. Like, you don't need to be involved. Like, even if you feel like you're teaching a lesson, you don't need to respond to them directly, right? And I don't know. I mean, it was just like a normal person who has their head tight on their shoulders, right? Like, they would know, like, oh yeah, like, you know, English teaching is kind of a bullshit job. Most of it's bullshit. So when you're an English teacher, live cheap, save your money, learn Japanese, so that way when you transition to another kind of like industry or whatever, you're prepared and you have the money to support yourself while you're like, you know, transitioning to this next job. So even if you're like, oh man, I might not be good at this job, I'm you know, maybe they might fire me, or like they might not hire me after my 3-month trial, at least you know you have some backup cash to keep you afloat while you're looking for stuff. You know, it's like, just put more of the favors or more of the odds in your favor kind of thing, right? You know? But anyway, it's just like, so when it's like gatekeeping, oh my god, gatekeeping, Captain Gatekeeper here. It's like, you know, like people that are like that chick, you know? The number one thing is that you got to take care of yourself financially, and you got to surround yourself with good people, right? Because when people air their dirty laundry like that, and they're whinging to the internet for like victim points or whatever, that's never good, man. And because like a lot of fucking YouTubers do that these days, you know, especially the females. Fucking, you know, I'm not gonna name a name, but you know, there's certain people that used to make really good vlogs that live in Kyushu, and you know, and instead of making like vlogs and stuff, they're just like, yeah, guys, my mental health has been so bad lately. And I'm like, do you really need to share this with people? Like, you know, if you had some really good friends that are talking to you and you can talk this out, that's one thing, right? Oh yeah, and there's a little gay cabin that me and Juan stayed in. Hell yeah. And yeah, and it's just like, I don't know. It's just, I feel like if you have a good support network around you, you're never going to need therapy, you know? Like, because, like, I hate the idea of therapists. I had to go to therapists for, like, 10 plus years, man, and I didn't fucking like that. I hated that. Because you could tell, they're just in it. As soon as your paycheck runs up, they're done. I didn't pay for it. It was, like, kind of like state-mandated shit. But it's like, yeah, dude, that was not fun, man. And, like, you get the feeling immediately. Like, you know, you can tell immediately when people actually care about you and when they don't. You know, when you're talking to them about your problems. And it's like, so like when you have good friends like my buddy Juan here, and it's funny because Juan is a white guy and he doesn't speak Spanish, but I think Juan was born, but his name isn't Juan, by the way, but I nicknamed him Juan because he was born and like he lived in Mexico for like part of his life. Like, he wasn't Mormon, but he was like one of those guys who like lived in and out of Mexico as a kid. But he lived with all those white people, so he didn't actually learn that much Spanish. But so I always nickname him Juan. But yeah, this is my buddy, the IT guy. And yeah, this is cool. This was his idea to come here, and it's funny because this was right in the middle of Corona, and there was nobody else at this campground except for right behind him. There's another cabin, and there was a family there, and there was a white guy and his Japanese wife, and they had come all the way from Saitama to up here to this campground, and I think he was British, but anyway, yeah, this is how small the cabin was too, by the way. But luckily they had an air conditioner, dude. But me and Juan snore like crazy, so we just kept each other up. But that was fun. That was fun. You know, we just chilled, and yeah, you know, it was okay. But yeah, what is it? I don't know, man. Again, like, you gotta surround yourself with good people, like my buddy Juan here, you know? It's just like you realize, I think it's good to meet as many people as possible, you know? Like, networking is really important, and, like, you don't ever want to be in an echo chamber, right? But at the same time, you want to surround yourself with people that get you, you know? That understand your struggles, and you want to, like, they want to help you just as much as you want to help them, kind of thing, you know? Because as much as we want to say, like, we're good people and, like, we take care of our friends, friendship needs to be reciprocal, you know? It can't just be 90%, 10% kind of thing, right? You know, that's the thing, right? And so it's like, you got to be willing to help each other. Now, I'm not saying, like, lend each other money or carry your friend across town on your back, but it's like for instance, I don't mind helping people when it doesn't take that much physical labor, kind of thing, right? Like, even my buddy Papa Tetsu, when he was moving, he helped me move. So I'm like, okay, like, if he needs help moving, I'll help him move. But when he moved into his new place, he didn't have that much stuff. So, because he was doing the whole minimalist thing. So, like, he didn't need my help. But I told him, I was like, if you ever need that help or whatever, and he knows I owe him a favor for that. But even if he didn't help me before, I would have still helped him just because he's my bro, you know? And, like, you help friends with the expectation that they're not going to do anything for you afterwards. But you hope that they do, you know? But you hope that they want to do it, right? And, I don't know, man. It's just, yeah, and look at us. It's so funny. This place, they had a rule that you couldn't have campfires, but we could have a grill. And we could chop up wood and put it on the grill as a fire. And I think what happened, from what the guy who ran the place was implying, is that people would make fires on the ground or fire pits, and then they wouldn't clean it up. And yeah, you know, it's just kind of lame sauce. But yeah, this was really fun. You know, this was cool. Because Juan likes camping, you know, but he's an actual guy who does it for real and not for play, you know? He's one of those guys that, like, he doesn't want to half-ass camp, you know? But I was just like, dude, I don't want to sleep in the tent for, like, the last day being in Aomori, Iwate. Like, you know, can we get a cabin place? And that's why we got that. But, yeah, man. Oh, and I don't know what the fuck we're doing here. I think we're just setting up this camp or something. But, yeah, I don't know. It's fun. It's fun. Like, you gotta... And it's so funny, too, because it's like... The only reason I'm hanging out with my buddy here and we're both gaijin is because I'm lucky enough to know a guy who gets to travel for work, you know? And, because, like, you know, like, what is it? My buddy who lives, who used to live in Japan and he doesn't live here anymore, he was giving me shit the other day and being like, all I see is what you just hanging out with other gaijin there. And, like, you know, and you're, oh, am I taking a piss? I am totally taking a piss right there. Hell yeah, dude. Power play. Assert dominance. Yeah, I'm telling you, for ladies, I know that you don't get to experience this, but for guys, you know what I'm talking about, right? When you take a piss and you just fucking, there's no urinal, so you don't need to worry about it splashing back at you. And you don't need to hold your cock down so you're not splashing and stuff, and you can just let loose, and it's just like you get to practice, you know, you get to stretch them Kegel muscles or whatever. It's just so good. It's so satisfying. Nothing makes me feel more like a man than doing that, you know. But yeah, anyway, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? No one knows what I'm talking about. Maybe they do. But yeah, I mean, like, the whole point is, though, is that, like, unless you go out and actually go and meet people, you're not going to meet these people. You know, like unless you go out and meet these people, you won't be able to find the cool dudes among these groups, right? Like I met Juan like in a bar, you know. This dude was like, you know, he's kind of a doughy white guy now, but like I liked him because he picked up chicks, you know, like he was like a really cool dude who picked up chicks. And yeah, I just realized I pissed and I didn't. I think there's a sink around there, but yeah, that's hey man, when you're out in the outdoors, man, you just gotta fucking go for it, bro. Just gotta do it, man. But yeah, I don't know, like Juan was this dude who's like, he wasn't the most attractive man I've ever met, but like that dude, he fucked chicks, man. Like every time I saw him, he was with a different chick, and these chicks, for some reason, they just naturally, you know, just kind of like glided over to him. Like, you know, like he's this like kind of fat, balding dude, you know, who's not that tall, but like he got chicks, and I respected him so much from that, and I went out of my way to like become friends with him just because I was like, this guy's so cool. I want to get to know him more. I've known him for a long time now, you know, and so I don't know. I feel like when you meet, I don't know, you got to go out, you got to meet the people, right? But like you can't just, I think this is one of the reasons again why like I don't like why I don't like living outside of Tokyo, because like when you're outside of Tokyo, you're so isolated. You have to drive everywhere most of the time. You don't know your neighbors, or you do know your neighbors, or you're like, it's just aside from work and maybe hobbies that you do by yourself, what else are you doing that's fun, you know? Like we need people in our lives, right? Like we're group kind of animals, you know? Like we're herd animals, you know? We want to be we feel safe in the herd and stuff, and we want to be around those people, right? And so oh, this is us cleaning up the camp because we just the night is already over. Okay, that's what we're doing. And so it's just like for me, when I was in the countryside, I feel like it's just you have too much free time. Everything's too slow. You're too much in your head. And so when you're in the city, you're surrounded by people, and like there's a reason why in Tokyo that you don't see a lot of like violent crime compared to like outside Tokyo. And it's because when you're surrounded by people that are keeping you in check and there's cops everywhere, you're more you're minding your Q's and P's kind of thing, right? And I don't know, it's just like I think that a lot of people do stupid shit when they're in their head too much, right? And so I don't know, man. Like, but that's the great thing about Tokyo. It's like you get, well, that's the good and bad thing, because it's like people, they'll come to Tokyo, they'll leave Tokyo, and some people stay, and like people are busy, right? So when you actually make time for people, you make the most out of it, right? I mean, like Juan's a guy who's always busy. I've got free time, but he doesn't. And so, like, you know, this is totally Brokeback Mountain, isn't it? This is like, I get to see you only once a year. You're only letting me get that fucking once a year. God damn it, Emmett. You're going down to Mexico. I'm like this because of you. Oh man, his wife's gonna find Juan's wife is gonna find his unused fishing gear when he went up for these fishing trips. You know, you're the reason I'm like this. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's one of those things where it's like the more people you meet, the more people you find out are just in your life for the drama and gossip, and and then, but it's okay though, because those people can stay acquaintances, right? Like, you know, you can know them, but you're like, okay, like you're not cool enough to be in the circle, right? But then when you find real ass rap word guys like Juan and other people, man, like you keep them close, right? You know, and I don't know. I feel like I want to make more Japanese friends like that too. It's kind of hard. In Japan, people have a very fixed mentality, you know? Like, kind of going back to the college kids talk I was saying at the beginning of this rant. Like, for me, I probably make the same amount of money, or if not a little bit more money than those college kids right now, you know, for living and stuff. But my expenses are cheaper, you know? I don't have, like an $1,000 a month apartment. I'm not going to regular supermarkets to get my food, you know? Like, I'm not going out to like expensive or like decent priced places to go drink. Like I'm frugal. I carry around a flask and I'll go to a place and I'll have like one drink or whatever, you know? Like I'm cautious with my money. But you know, it's like I think the same thing. It's just like I don't like having the slavery mentality of like I only have one job, so I only have one source of income. And for me, it's like I got 5, right? So if one dips out, I've got 4 others to fall back on, right? And, you know, I don't have to worry about getting fired from my jobs because I am at the level of communication with my bosses and, like, my coworkers where it's like I don't need to be fake and gay about any of this stuff. Like, I just act the way I am, and I get them money, and they appreciate that. And if they ever wanted to fire me or something, I'm okay with that, too, because I have other sources of income. And so... you know, I think that, like, people, they, like, especially in Japan, like, they have this really, like, you know, because a lot of companies in Japan, they say you can't have a side hustle. And so a lot of Japanese people, they don't try to do side hustles or whatever, right? Like, fukugyo. And so, you know, a lot of them think, like, oh, man, I'm stuck doing this, or I'm stuck with these people, or I'm stuck, you know, living here or whatever. And it's like they're not very flexible, right? But I'm not saying that there's not many people out there like that, but it's just they're kind of harder to find. But yeah, like one of my goals this year is like I want to find more people like that have like a similar schedule like that and befriend them and go out and do more trips like this, you know, like add more people to my Japanese circle kind of thing, you know, because it's fun, you know, it's good. But anyway, I don't even know what the fucking point of this whole thing was. I guess at the end of the day, it's just like, look, I only give people shit because I expect I don't expect better, but I hope for better for them, you know? Like, I don't want people to fucking die. I don't want them to not succeed. I want them to be happy, right? Because I think the more happy foreigners here that we have here that aren't bitter, like, the better it is for them. It's the better it is for other foreigners. The better it is for Japan, right? And, like, I don't have a big following here, and that's fine. But for anybody who comes across my videos, I hope that if you can take anything from this, it's just that, like, you don't need to be stuck in whatever bitter cycle that you guys are stuck in right now. Like, you always have opportunities to change your shit for the better. And, but the first thing you got to do is surround yourself with people that want to help you, you know, that like that are rooting for you. And that's one of the things I really like about my Discord is that, like, Triple, I know you're watching this, like, there was a viewer of mine, Triple, and he was having issues with one of his jobs, and he was just like, fuck this, I'm gonna burn the bridge, fuck these assholes. And I was like, dude, just talk to your boss, just talk to him heart to heart, man on man kind of shit, you know, just man to man, you know, like, because the worst thing that's gonna happen is that they actually fire you. But at least you, like, you know, most issues in this world come from communication or miscommunication, right? I mean, it's the Cool Hand Luke thing where, you know, he gets shot and he's like, what we seem to have here is a failure to communicate. And, you know, I think that it's just like when you're clear of yourself, when you communicate with yourself of what you want and you surround yourself with people that are also wanting to do the same thing. They're not just talking shit about other people. They're not just like being angry at the world. Like, you know, people want to say like that the positivity stuff is fake and gay, but I think there's a big difference between acknowledging that shit is shitty and still moving forward versus being like, okay, I'm bored, let's talk about this instead, you know? Yeah, I guess that's what I'm getting at here. And yeah, oh man, the owner of this place was so nice, by the way. God damn it, I don't remember the name of this camp. I'll ask Juan if he can remember what the name was of this place. But yeah, this place was really nice. If it's not too crowded, I suggest you guys go up there and enjoy it. The owners were super nice, and you could go there and rent all the stuff. They had everything. They had the charcoal, they had the grills, they had food, they had firewood, they had like basically everything that you needed to be comfortable. And it was really nice, and they even had showers there too. So, it was nice. It was nice and sexual. But anyway, I you know, I don't really know what the whole spiel was again of this. I think it's just at the end of the day, like, I appreciate every one of you guys who comes over and checks out my videos, because I know on paper I don't have a lot to show. You know, like money wise, you know, like working credential-wise, stuff like that. But, and like, you know, I'm a fat guy, right? But I just, at the end of the day, I think that there's a difference between somebody who looks like they have their shit together mentally, and then there's somebody who does. And I'd like to think that I'm one of those people that does, you know, because I think that, like, a lot of people like having the street cred where they're like, oh, I'm cool because I did this, or I'm cool because of this, so you automatically should respect me. And I'm like, I think you should never assume that people should automatically respect you. You know, you treat people the way that you want to be treated, you know? Even if you have a difference of opinion, you treat them as if they're another adult, you know? And, I don't know. I think that, like, at the end of the day, guys, if you can't have a conversation or, like, a civil conversation where, like, kind of like what even though I'm not talking to anyone right now, like, if you can't talk to somebody the way I'm talking to you guys through the video, then, you know, they're not worth your time. Just leave them alone. But it's still interesting. It's something to learn from, and, like, you know, you can still take something away from that experience, I guess is what I'm getting at. But anyway, we're getting to the end of the video. So, if you're still in the premiere chat, say hi right now. And, yeah, thanks for making it all the way here, guys. If you guys made it all the way here, then the secret comment of the day is meat vending machine, because that was the last thing I showed you guys, the meat vending machine. So, yeah, put that in there. That's the secret, you know, secret comment of the day. Don't forget to smash the like button. I want to get at least 50 likes per video. Usually by the first or second day, we get around like 30 or 40 likes. So I'd like to get up to 50 likes in the video. And, yeah, and just, don't forget, we do a live stream after each premiere, so I should be putting that link in the chat right now. And if you guys are watching this not as the premiere, it should be the top message there. So go over and check out that VOD. And yeah, anyway, sorry guys, the mic cut out there for a second. God damn, right as I was ending it. Anyway, point is, thank you guys so much for the love and support. And, yeah, make sure to check out, if you want to get more of this hot sexual goody talkness, then check out the playlist at the end of this video. Like always, thank you guys always for the support, blah, 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 blah. See you in the live stream. Go over to the live stream. Peace out, guys. Laters.